Just look at it. Look at it. What the hell is even that? It goes, I am the Flymo Grass Blade Whipper 9000. And I can tell when I'm being observed. And I've broken... Oh no, here we go. Go on, go whip that grass. Go on. Now, very sadly, it's a baby magpie. And, poor little guy. I would have raised you, like many birds in my childhood, falling out of nests, and I raised them and they become quite tame. The best one being a bulbul. If you know what a bulbul is, I raised a baby bulbul. But always sad to see little dead baby birds. Tommy Robinson is to be released early from prison next week. Yet political prisoner Lucy Connolly, the mother in her early 30s, arrested for an emotional tweet, a spicy tweet, after the Southport massacre. She's had her appeal denied, so she languishes in Britain, and she is at the moment, alongside Tommy, our famous political prisoners. And in order to ensure that the right-wing parties do not fragment and lose the next general election, I think it's about time for Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson to have a meeting and to see how they can work together. Because this whole, Farage thinking Tommy's no good, despite Tommy many times wanting to negotiate, collaborate, and in their view, save the country together, old Nigel's having none of it. And when you read the backstory with Lucy Connolly, she didn't know exactly what she was pleading guilty to. She didn't understand that it would come with a kind of 2.5-year prison sentence. And turns out Lucy had lost her young son tragically. I don't know in what circumstances, whether it was illness or what have you, but a young mother who'd lost her son, getting upset because other mothers had lost their children in a massacre, and she wrote upset about it and deleted the tweet, yet she went to prison for 2.5 years. Well, that was a sentence anyway. She'll be out hopefully having served about 1 year, but that's not right. Okay, welcome back to Greater Manchester, Salford Funeral Care. Methinks either an Irish traveller gypsy funeral or someone is having their funeral with a little Snow White Cinderella kind of, yeah, really classy. You guys ever seen a bike roundabout? Still priorité à la droite, mes amis. Anyway, let's go to Salford Quays. And remember, all people are the same. Per capita doesn't exist. Every single group's identical. Different skills is just an illusion. Welcome to Salford Quays. Emergency throw lines. They've got the bubbler, the swamp thing. He's bubbling. And you see that blue colour? That is organic blue dye to stop so many short wavelengths of powerful photons reaching the algae. They don't want the bloom. And what's wrong with a bit of Orlando bloom? Says this big ugly fish with a Tesco bag on his face. Is that a salmon? Is that an Atlantic salmon? Let's find out. Actually, it might be a pike. Oh, he's got a pike face on him, guys. What do you think? Yeah, that's a pike, that kind of duck-billed. It looks like one of those women that's had a collagen injection in the lips, so I'd say pike. That pike in a dike gave me a fright. And I'm going to film some buildings for a few seconds just to get the image of pussy pike fish oil exploding from a bloated carcass into my face, into my mouth. Ooh, Charlie. These are all globo-homo buildings. Globally homogeneous. Global homo. I don't like the shape of this building. They're like, you know what, we'll put a little diagonal side to it. Boom. It's different. No, it's not. It's still shit. Don't think the reflection lounge is doing too well. It's just, again, prime early summer day in the sun, and it's abandoned. Fake trees don't help. Who are fake trees even aimed at? You know, like, initially you're like, oh, trees. You get a bit closer and you realize you've been duped. It's like taking a girl home and then realizing she's got a cock and bollocks, you know. It can ruin the mood. We'll be all right. Whatever assessment centre it is, it begins with ass and ends in ment. Assess my mental state. I've got mental health. So, assessment centre by appointment only. Anyway. CCTV masts, MCR vets. It's the most uninspiring architecture you'll ever see in the history. You know, turn of the millennium. You know, not even neo-futuristic, just if basic bitch was an architectural style. Gee, honey, what's this? More bullshit built in 1999. That is like devoid of any structure. I think what they would call this is postmodernist architecture, where it's like a childish taking the piss out of other styles. Just looks like a cheap casino in North Vegas. So we pass Harbour City tram stop and we look up at these Globo Homo glass and metal Meccano sets. Built fast, built cheap, sold to Chinese and Arab investors in a buy-to-let. And sometimes, not saying these ones specifically, sometimes the seller will say, we will guarantee you a net yield of 10% rent per year. And I'll tell you the industry secret. They just increase the purchase price and give you your own money back as guaranteed rent. We all know that, don't we? Oh, we passed Bupa. Nothing against Bupa, as the NHS gets more and more rammed with people who don't pay tax or speak English, you know. More and more people are turning to private medical. They've got their car ramming of peace barriers on point. And Bupa is probably the best known, perhaps the most respected of the private medical companies. So, yeah, if you need an operation and you don't want to wait 17 years because some people have priority for medical treatment over you. What were you thinking? You're white. Why would you get preferential treatment? No, you're back of the queue, mate. What, you thought diversity was to treat you equally? You idiot. Get to the back of the queue or go private. So, 1, 2, 3. They're probably going to build a fourth one in here of these big buy-to-let apartment blocks. BBC staff. What a bunch of... Well, yeah, let me finish my sandwich before I get going. Well... Oh, what's that logo? My goodness. It's not looking good for the BBC. We get mocked around the world for paying a TV license. You need a license in this country to have a spoon. You need a farting license if you want to fart, and you need a license if you want to watch broadcast terrestrial television. Dockhouse. The BBC, again, they did a big documentary about Israel a few months ago. Turns out half the people they interviewed were committed Hamas members pretending to be victims. They had top football pundit Gary Lineker shared on his Instagram an anti-Semitic meme that said Zionists were rats. Had a little image of a rat. And Gary Lineker, I don't know what's going on. But what pisses me off the most is the BBC attitude. Oh, have I just spat on the screen? Hope not. Forgive me. Every time I see them out filming or somewhere, you know, the last time I was at the Nicola Bulley thing, and they were telling me off for filming too close to them. And I was like, I'm not in your shot. She's like, yeah, but you're in my line of sight and you're distracting me when I'm trying to do my report. So, alongside the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, the British government, as led by Keir Starmer and David Lammy, perhaps the lowest IQ foreign secretary, he just comes across as dumb. Okay. Before I became foreign minister, I say all these really bad things against Donald Trump, but now that Trump's president again, I'll shake his hand and go, okay. So, David Lammy, our foreign secretary, look him up. He doesn't look very smart. He said that what Israel are doing the Palestinians is intolerable. And he said that despite all their friends, America, Canada, France, saying stop doing that, it's intolerable, David Lammy castigated the Israelis for continuing their war of defense and war of defeating Hamas. Britain has suspended trade talks with Israel, really sticking the knife in. And they've imposed sanctions on some of the settlers in the West Bank that Louis Theroux, in his inimitable style, made look really awkward. And what grinds my gears the most, what gets the cogs inside my brain grinding against each other with zero oil or lubrication, is the fact that the BBC and the British government, they'll allow any other ethnic minority to defend themselves, to fight against oppression, to, I just noticed there was someone filming me inside that building. Good, you should film me. But as soon as it comes to the Jews, the Jewish people, the BBC seems to think that they, A, it didn't happen, October 7th, or B, they deserve it. And it's very shameful that taxpayer funded by way of TV license. You need a license to have a baby. You need a license to pick your nose. You need a license to have a beer. You need a license to catch a fish. And you need a license to listen to anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, scapegoating, and I'll tell you, look, I've not even got started about the Muslims yet. Some may argue that Muslims in the West are mystical communists. Some may argue that Muslim activities in the West, the Christian West, are like entryist Trotskyists from the 1920s. It's clear that many towns now are Muslim controlled on a local government level, and they will never return to being British established political party, Christian controlled, capitalist controlled. No, because these communities, just like entryist Trotskyists, are all about promoting their particular way of life, ideology, political ideology, totalitarian cult, authoritarian regime. They love it. And so, even when they're in the West and they see, not these global homo glass and metal cages, but they see the history, the tradition, the winning, the colonialism, the success, the life expectancy, the science, the medicine, the pharmacology of the West. Let's not forget the overwhelmingly superior morality of the West. It took the British in the 1800s to ban slavery and to impose force to stop people transporting slaves around the world. The Muslims in Arabia and East Africa, they were keeping slaves, madam. Hello! They were keeping slaves up until the late final quarter, up until the 1970s. And then ISIS, let's not forget, it doesn't help. You get a group of the nastiest, fascistic, incel, virginal, poor genetics, scumbag Muslims. And what do? They together, I'm saying that a small sect within Islam formed the Islamic State. And one of the first things they did was they started getting slaves back in the 2010s. No one else in the world was keeping slaves. And the BBC, just like the UK government, has it in for Israel because, unfortunately, there are now already too many Islamist-leaning, Islamist, tacitly supporting MPs who are not interested in a universal message for everyone on earth, for freedom, truth, beauty, glory. They're interested in ensuring that their particular team, their particular totalitarian political stroke mystical ideology wins. And they are obsessed with Jewish people. It's in their Quran, the battles, many battles between Muhammad and the Jews. They are obsessed, unfortunately. And maybe it's just as well. Maybe it's just as well. Young Tommy has been released from prison. I'm sure he would have a few things to say about the British filleting of Hamas, the British government filleting of Hamas, the British government betrayal of some of their oldest allies on earth, the Jewish people and Israel. Britishness and Judaism go together very well, like Britishness and Thailand people, very compatible, because we want the same thing. Civilization, order, safety for our children, safety for our daughters, and to be able to walk down the street without someone killing you whilst proclaiming, ironically, that God is amazing. This is your host, Charles Veach. Welcome to the 1 o'clock afternoon news here at the BBC. After decades of genocidal intent by the Islamists in the West Bank and Gaza and in the wider Islamist world against the tiny, tiny state of Israel, after many decades of this, and also after the worst Holocaust since the actual World War II Holocaust, 1,300, many men, women and babies tortured and massacred by people who are committed to annihilate the Jewish people, we at the BBC felt, in order to remain impartial, we're going to side a little bit with the genocidal maniacs who invaded people's houses and shot their grannies and strangled their kids. Okay, they're wearing a yellow bandana that says death to all the Jews and, death to the West, death to America. It's okay because we're guilty white people here at the BBC. And also we've been infiltrated by very, very many people who, because of their religious persuasion, I'm not going to say what they are. Okay, they're Muslims. They will automatically side with their Muslim brethren instead of thinking what is universally the best for humanity as a whole. Very tribal, very in-group preference. And us here at the big broadcasting cockerel, we believe that Jewish people should continue to be persecuted and made to feel bad for existing, for wanting the same things that British people want. But here at the BBC, we want to remind the Jews that their original sin is being Jewish, and that, for being successful in their elimination of people that wish to Holocaust them, we have to make them feel bad. We didn't make the British here feel bad for the Falklands. We didn't make the British feel bad for Gulf War I. We didn't make the British feel bad for Gulf War II. But when the worst attack against civilians in Jewish history since 1945 happens, we look around and we say, no, a quarter of our staff are Muslims, so we will side with Hamas. That makes perfect sense. If I were Muslim working for this organization, I'd probably leave and go and work for an Israeli organization instead, just to spite the BBC. Oh, independent television, just as bad as the BBC, except they don't make you pay for a license to switch your telly on. I think in the last few months now, the general population at large realizes what we all suspected, that all diversity training, all diversity policies are actually white people are evil policies in disguise. The way the BBC sees Jewish people is the way the new diverse UK innit bruv people see white people. Again, original sin. Colonizers, settlers, people who stole all the magic land, the magic money, the magic buildings. They didn't work hard for it. And let's ignore the fact they're in their own country. They're in their own country. Let's ram some diversity training down their throats so that all the young white people feel guilty and bad in their own country. Now, if that isn't evil, eugenic, genocidal, ethnic cleansing, then you haven't been paying attention, guys. It actually is. Came out in the Daily Telegraph, one of the more respected news rags, that school children in England are getting taught that sub-Saharan Africans built Stonehenge. I'm not even effing with you. I'm not shitting with you. Now, you're a young white boy, you're a young English boy, you're a young English girl, young Scottish kid, you're Welsh, you're Irish, you know, and then the teacher, a big, obese, morbidly obese woman. Hello, mate. Oh, good. How are you? Hi. Come and be in my video. Hi. I want to say on this channel, we love the Sikhs, we love the Sikh religion, we love the Sikh culture, and they say, seek and you shall find, so I found one. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well, just doing a rant about the BBC and all their racism and anti-Israeli crap. Yeah. So how are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, we're just on a bike ride.
There you go, enjoy, it's a good day for it. Yeah, thanks for saying hello. Anyway, take care. See you, man. So, where was I? My choo-choo train of thought. Choo-choo! It's left the station. I'll pause now and I'll come back to it. Hey, son, how was school today? Well, Dad, I learned today that our people, native Europeans, are literal devils here to destroy the real humans who are, you know, everyone else on Earth. And everything that you've earned, Dad, you've stolen. Everything that our ancestors fought and died for was all theft. I'm glad I know this. You know, I'm ready to hate myself even more now. You know, that white guilt. Let's turn it into white self-hatred. Big, massive, obese woman at school. Purple and green hair. Never had children. Votes far left. And she's telling young white boys and white girls that they are responsible for all the evils of history. That ends now. I'm done. I'm finished. Had enough. Don't care. Ban me for life. And just like the commies in the 20th century, in the 21st century, we have a resurgent Islamism funded by Qatari and Saudi Arabian billions. Let's not forget also just the global brotherhood of Muslims, the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't mean the official Muslim Brotherhood, which is banned in a lot of countries in the Middle East for being proper commie muzzies. But yeah, any large ideology that stunts the full development of their adherents in terms of jurisprudence, morality, spirituality, or even just everyday living. It needs to be challenged, talked about, demystified, and I get very angry at seeing British Muslims in suits asking for blasphemy laws, and the MP, Adnan Hussein, get this, he's a trained lawyer, so he should know what he's talking about. He actually tweeted, and I quote, direct quote, so he can't sue me. Rupert Lowe believes that freedom of speech is the right to offend Muslims. We'll just let that hang for a few moments, Adnan. We'll just let it, let it linger so we can all look at it. And it goes without saying, yes, Adnan, that's exactly what freedom of speech is. It's the right to offend everyone, including Muslims, because if you're not offending them, you're not speaking freely enough. And it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. Love that expression. It goes without saying, so I'm about to say it. I'm going to conquer that sand dune. I am now Lawrence of Arabia. Charlance of Arabia. It goes without saying that it's impossible to be racist against Muslims. Impossible. Why? Islam's not a race. Gee, Charlie, that's really advanced. Is that like saying it's impossible to be racist against communists? Yes, it's exactly the same thing. Well, Charlie, what about white people? I was told it's impossible to be racist against white people. No. Quit your internal dialogue, you're wrong. White is a race. Islam's not a race. Communism's not a race. White boy, native European, that's a race. You know that dead pike, that bloated dead pike we filmed? It was down here in the same water rectangle here. And I'm just thinking, looking at the Canada geese, surely those Canada goose parents will rejoice with every dead pike, because those little goslings, Ryan Goslings, they look perfect pike mouth, tasty snack size, Mars bar fun size. One gulp for one of those little golden boys over there. Yeah, they're getting awfully tame, these big birds. Hey, big bird. Oh, look, the little mallard ones are getting quite big now. They're about half the size of Mummy. Look at that. Bundles of joy, but the cutest have to be the Canada goose ones down there, the little golden ones. Oh, sorry, it's okay, you can chat, I don't mind.
I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, very rude of me. I should be making conversation with the people around me, not just narrating my... What's this? They're getting seeds, look. Do you know what would really be good for them? Some cheap white Asda bread. That would sort them right out. Wait, look at that little golden one. Where is he? Look at that. Look at that. That is adorable. Right, the geese are kicking off about something. This one here is having a goose stroke or something. What's going on? What is that bent neck thing? What are you doing? Wait, they're both at it now. Coming back to the topic at hand, really strange shit going down when one race is singled out around the world as needing to be replaced, as needing to be kept in check, as needing to be held back. Held back is the most important one for jobs, school places, whatever, you know. Positive discrimination against whites, or negative discrimination against whites, positive for everyone else. Now, what an inversion. In fact, a perfect mirror image of a Nazi ideology, except this time it's a perfect mirror image. Equally shit, equally evil, just with a different direction of the energy flow. So we return to the Blue Peter garden. Blue Peter was a kids show on the BBC for many years, where the phrase, "Here's one I made earlier," became very famous, became a meme. But if we come down here, I might be able to get you an official Blue Peter badge logo. Not logos. First of all, they've got the... See what they have to do to keep the geese out? All those birds are going to eat their little koi carp here. The heron, though, a heron could stick his beak down there and get them. Anyway, here's one I made earlier with the pirate ship. The only piracy going on now is in the minds of BBC staff, wishing to sack Jerusalem. They wish to sack Tel Aviv. And it's not a sign of virtue, but it's actually a software failure, that if you're adherence to a group and looking after your own people can be hacked by abstract moral principles from people who wish to replace you, that's not a virtue, my chubby millennial BBC employees. It's a I've struggled to find the right, it's a critical software, what's the word? Vulnerability, I think. Oh, that'll do. Vulnerability, that'll do. The best thing about all this is that all these buildings, all these little summary things and chubby people wearing lanyards, all their big salaries, all those Gary Linekers and Carol Vodermans and all the rest of them, all paid for by the taxpayer. Not control. Oh, there's a proper car ramming of peace barrier down there. That's a proper one. Look at that. Canary Wharf vibes. Oh, there's some social media being made here. It's okay, it's for YouTube, it's good. It's okay. You're welcome. And what's this noise over here? What's this weird humming? This is the last thing a Ukrainian soldier hears before he gets blown up by a drone. Okay, Bridge House BBC. It's a bit quieter down this end. This again is all BBC. They got a few studios in there. I just want to show you the king of the car ramming of peace barriers. Is that... Oh, let's try to get it in focus. The king of the car... Oh, Charlie. Let's just go this way. The king of the car... Oh! The king of the car ramming of peace barriers is black and yellow and is right there. Let's try 20 times zoom. Right, okay. So just after I was suffering my blurry camera failure. Little guy in a security outfit with the lanyards. Security went running into this building to warn the other security of Bridge House that I'm outside. And I was like squinting down the side of my glasses, and yep, he was like, that guy out there, and they're all looking. But I think they've got the memo. They know how this operates. They're gonna try their very hardest to not interact with me, which I would prefer they did. It's more dramatic, you get to have a conversation. But the thing with lefties, they can't win in an open debate. They have to win by subversion, violence, and propaganda. So the car ramming of peace barriers there to stop cars going in. But if you're feeling brave and you've got good ground clearance and very good suspension and a very well balanced vehicle, no, it's not going to work. It's not long enough. Your rear, unless you've had the world's most advanced suspension, you wouldn't get a good takeoff. And the rear would jump up, and because the engine's heavy, yep, wouldn't recommend it. Not that one. Let's head back into the BBC zone. Key House. Look at all the little BBC logos in there. Bubba, BBC iPlayer, and Radio 5 Live. But also, you can see them working. Look at that. They're even watching TV in the background. Look. It's my reflection getting in the way. Can you not see there's a very diverse group of people. One of them even wearing a headscarf, looking at someone's screen there. And I, as a taxpayer, I'm very happy to know that a tiny, tiny fraction of my money is supporting this. Oh, hold on. They might not get it from income tax and council tax. Maybe if I don't have a TV license, maybe I'm not supporting this. They must earn so much good money to be drinking expensive takeaway coffee after expensive takeaway coffee. And I was going to say, maybe they're providing a valuable service that is very competitive in the capitalist free market. But no, they're not. They're literally the government spokespiece, propaganda, commie, Jew-hating channel. Well, BBC Breakfast mock-up studio there. Don't even get me started about Eamon Holmes, the convicted paedophilic image appreciator. He was one of the best paid men in the BBC. Who can forget Jimmy Savile, top BBC employee, friends with King Charles when he was the Prince, and turns out one of the worst child molesters. He didn't just like molesting kids, he liked molesting sick and disabled children in hospital. And I'm sure the BBC knew a lot about his special interests, and they turned the other way because he was popular. As we leave the BBC, I just want to say a few words about the second young male model arrested by the Metropolitan Police Anti-Terror Squad for firebombing our Prime Minister's houses and cars. Now, I thought initially this was youth demand, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine, young commies, but they don't have the sophistication to do that. They're too busy, taking wrong hormones and chopping their genitals off. This has all the hallmarks of an FSB attack. FSB is the Russian KGB. They're not Soviet Union anymore. It's not KGB, it's FSB. And if you look up, just Google Russians hiring Ukrainians or Eastern Europeans to carry out attacks across Western Europe, there's a lot of literature about it. And yeah. And again, what a clever FSB attack. They get to intimidate the Prime Minister of Britain whilst he's supporting Ukraine, and also get all the press speculating now whether he was hiring rent boys. Now, I thought I'd heard of this before. There's an American author called Bret Easton Ellis. He wrote American Psycho. He also wrote Glamorama, very good book, where foreign agencies hire supermodels to carry out attacks, assassinations, terror attacks. The theory being Supermodels are meant to travel internationally, they're meant to go through airports, they're meant to go to functions where there's rich and powerful people. So no one suspects the supermodel. But those two young men and Keir Starmer, they're quite ugly bastards. Don't know what modeling agency they were with. Uglybloke.com, but then again, acting, modeling, sometimes you need ugly bastards. But taking Russian money, filleting the big zombie corpse of Lenin for some shekels to get yourself many years in jail for what? For what? And everyone in prison will think that you are getting bummed by Keir Starmer. On that happy note, getting bummed by Keir Starmer, I'll see you all in the next video. This is Charlie Beach. Well, if it isn't Dallas House, I think. No, Dallas Court, it might be Dallas House. You used to be area Dallas something. Dallas, you used to be able to walk right up to it. They've put quite severe security and cameras around it. Can you guess what it is, guys? It's an Home Office immigration place where they have the immigration enforcement vans round the back. And judge, and it's also a HM passport office, but primarily this is where Keir Starmer, who hates immigrants now, he's a nativist. Keir Starmer is now the man for the job, so he says. It's empty rhetoric, of course, but I love that. Immigration enforcement, and they call them customers. Not that you're going to see with my camera, no, it's a customer entrance. I'm surprised they're allowed to fly the Union flag of Britain outside the immigration enforcement place. I would have thought it would have been the flag of Afghanistan or Pakistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, the worst of the stands. Tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why. Some people say that's the worst of the stands. Oh my. Opposite immigration, they've got corporate church, warehouse church, go church, Manchester, look at that. Corporate church, sanctuary. Now only £15 a month, or whatever it is they're charging. But if we have a look over here, we can see some people. People doing things. Don't worry guys, the cameraman never dies. I'll be fine. What an ugly building though. And but I do admire the kind of, what's it? Tint. They've got a strong tint on those windows, which I think would be useful. Look, there's a rooftop prison football field. And we come round. Just want to get you guys a shot of the van. Hello! Don't mind me, it's just a YouTube thing. What a pity we don't have the immigration branded van. I just wanted one of your nice vans, but they're hiding behind the grey vans. Wait. Best I can do for you guys is an implied immigration enforcement. Anyway, how are you, madam? You good? How's the immigration enforcing going? All good? Nice. Well, things have changed and shifted in the last few years. Last time I filmed outside this building, a collection of them in official uniform, I'll have you know, came out to question me and chase me away. Now, they sheepishly nod in approval when you say you're from YouTube. Fear me not, lady. I'm from the internet. And she nodded answers to my questions. Times they are a-changin'. Sir, you didn't report me, did you? Did you report me to security, sir? Sir, why would you do that? He's reported me to security. Why would he do that? There's a security that he reported me to. Well, the man who's reported me to security. Paranoid much? Paranoid much? Yes. Everything I said there about them being chilled now. Why did the red t-shirted African have to report me? I know why. I am one of those dirty white people who is, you know, he's watched the show Adolescence. I've got toxic masculinity. Everything I touch is coercion and control. I'm inherently full of original sin based on my race. And if I'm out doing a YouTube video against the government building, he's watched those documentaries about white people, Timothy McVeigh, Oklahoma City, the Aryan Brotherhood in prison. Well, someone in there drives a nice old Land Rover. Now this camera better focus. Wait a second. What are you doing? Why are you filming the airliner? You are a terrorist, a white-skinned devil, and you filming that aircraft. Clearly you've been watching Adolescence and you want to stab a 12-year-old to death because you're white. You gotta love Netflix. You gotta love Netflix. Like, the news, as in reality, factual reality of convictions, people arrested, suspects, machetes, knives, stabbings, mass stabbings, family dispute stabbings. There's all the evidence you might need of the perpetrators, yet when it comes to a Netflix show, skinny, prepubescent, safe little white boy. That's toxic masculinity for you. Oh, there it goes, the rare enforcement van back into Dallas court.